the taxes and stuff when you do Etsy, a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Taxes are a nightmare in general. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. You need to hire an accountant, and you need to factor in the cost of an accountant when you're doing it. Like, that's part of the price of doing business, so. Anyway, yeah, taxes absolutely stress me out. Not just for Etsy, though. You know, taxes for YouTube are a complicated train wreck, too. God, I hate it. I hate dealing with it. I hate thinking about it. I hate everything about it. It's just terrible. Oh, my God. I don't know what I was doing there. I was supposed to continue on to hit the bomb. Yep. Once again, I was supposed to continue on to hit the bomb. Try that again. Basically, Etsy writes you a 1099 form, which is like an independent contractor form. You need to have a business license, though, so the 1099 needs to be assigned to your business. So get a business license, get an EIN number. It's basically a social security number for a company. Get an EIN number. Assign the income to the business. To the business's social security number, effectively. And then, once you do that, write yourself a check every month or every week or whatever from the business. The business should be cutting you a check, basically a paycheck. You have to pay something called FICA taxes. FICA taxes are Social Security and Medicare taxes. So you pay half of that. The business pays half of that. So you're basically paying 15% or 15.3% or something of your income goes to FICA taxes. Plus regular income taxes on top of that, of, depending on what you're making, 12 to 24%. So somewhere in the range of 36% of your money is going to the government. And you have to account for that in business costs. So if you're charging, say, $10 per retro game stand or $10 per memory card or whatever else, that means, you know, $3.50 of that goes toward materials to 3D print it or to buy the memory cards themselves. And then another $3.50 goes to the government. And you're left with about $3.50 profit, pretty much, at best. So overhead is another cost. So the cost of running an office, if you have an office or something, that's another, overhead is another 20 to 30%. You may be only making 5%. Taking a paycheck home of 5% of what the business is making. So if the business is bringing in $3,000 a month total, you're only bringing in $150 of that for keepsies. So, needless to say, running a business is obscenely expensive. Obscenely expensive. You make almost nothing because everyone else gets a piece of it, basically. Which, you know, that's how society works. I get it. It's how society works. We have to pay taxes so that we can have roads and bridges and a military to protect us from Russia. Oops. We have to pay for materials. We have to pay for a building. We have to pay for these things. That's just how it works, you know? But that means that you're going to make significantly less than you would expect. All of these costs add up, and you end up with nearly nothing compared to what you actually brought in. You end up with, like, almost no money from it. Like I said, $3,000 a month is what the business brings in. You're only keeping about $150 of that, you know? Usually small businesses are given a lot more leeway depending on the state. Yeah, I mean, it depends. You're talking state taxes, and yeah, they give you some leeway depending on the state. I'm talking federal. I haven't even addressed state taxes. What I've been telling you is just federal only so far. You still have to pay state taxes, and as a matter of fact, you have to pay city taxes too, not just state, not just federal. Oops. But city taxes also. My storefront is in Milton, West Virginia. That's where, like, I have my, you know, my office or whatever. I have to pay Milton, West Virginia a percentage of what I make. And West Virginia and the federal government. Everybody wants a piece of what you're making. Like I said, I get it. That's how they survive. But at a certain point, it actually makes it not worth it at all to do it. And that's bordering on where I am with the business right now. I have employees that are making money working for me, and that's why I don't close my shop. It's making nothing for me right now. $0 and 0 cents. Because I have to pay for the storefront and the taxes, and I have to pay for the materials and everything. I'm making $0 from it. But my employees are making, you know, a few $100s a week in some cases. So even if I'm making $0 and 0 cents from it, it's still of benefit to my employees, so I keep it open. And maybe there will come a time when it is making money for me. You know, if I raise the prices and do things a certain way. Who knows? Maybe, right? I mean, if it's costing me nothing, then why not just keep it? Get write-offs to help with that. Oh, yeah, I've written off everything. I mean, I've paid accountants to look into all of it. I'm making nothing at the end of the day, and that's just what it is. The store, like the Etsy shop, it brings in about $3,000 a month, give or take. $2,000 to $4,000, depending on the month. But like I said, I make generally like $100 a month at most. And actually, usually I'm paying money out to keep it going. But I'm using it as a storage location too, to store some of my stuff, so it equals out. Running a business very quickly becomes not worth it if you're not careful. If you're, like, spending too much on frivolous things or whatever else. Oh my god, I suck at this game. It quickly becomes not worth it anymore. I mean, YouTube is good. YouTube is good because there's, like, very low overhead. Like, I don't have to pay for, like, what do you call it? Like, an office. I don't have to pay for an office with YouTube, for example. And that lowers overhead dramatically. I don't have to pay for materials because the materials that I use are my mind. So, you know, basically, I keep 100% of the profits because I'm not spending it on, like, 3D printer filament or repairing parts that break or whatever else. So, YouTube is a more sustainable business model than storefronts. And unfortunately, it's like with Etsy, naturally, I should basically jack my prices up, right? If I want it to be sustainable and actually make something for me, I need to raise my prices. But if I raise my prices, people don't buy things. I don't set the prices. The buyer sets the prices, you know? Like, if I raised my prices from like $10 a stand to $15 a stand, people just straight up wouldn't buy it. And then my employees wouldn't be making a dime, and I'd be spending money on overhead anyways to keep the office open, you know? So I have to, like, this is the medium. I have to make $0.00, or I'll be paying money out, pretty much. That's how business ownership works, basically. It's complicated, and you can expect to make very little with it unless you, I don't know, do things in a very, oh my god. Man, that's the furthest I've been in this level. Yeah, I did just raise my prices, like, yesterday. And I did raise them, like, $1 per stand. But, again, you know, I'm going to have fewer sales. And it's going to even out. Fewer sales because people, you know, fewer people are going to be willing to buy my products at that price point. Which means it's going to even out. Like, I was selling, like, 10 stands a week at $10, and now I'm selling 8 stands a week at $11. Ultimately, I'm making about the same amount of money, roughly. I mean, I'm not bringing in any. And my employees are putting in less work, which means they are making less money. So I'm not making a dime extra. They're making even less, and people are paying more. You know, it's kind of the economics of the situation. It's really interesting to think about how all of this plays out economically and the most beneficial prices and things like that. I don't know. Oops. Anyway. Yeah, I was making a lot with the Etsy shop for a while there. I was bringing in like $8,000 a month from the Etsy shop. Total, like not profits, but total. And, you know, and I was doing a lot of the work. So I was actually making like, I don't know, $2,000-$3,000 a month from it for a minute there. But when I moved to New York City, I had to start paying other people to do it for me. And the shop also went down to like $2,000 to $4,000 a month. So ultimately I made like $0. I mean, don't take it as me complaining. I'm not. It's okay. I just wish I could find a way to make it a sustainable business model. Like I said, I don't really set the prices. The buyer sets the prices. The buyer decides how much they're willing to pay, or the consumer. The consumers decide how much they're willing to pay and how much they're going to buy based on this price point or that price point or whatever else, you know. Wow, I really suck at this level. I've been at this exact spot for like 20 minutes. That's one thing about consumer service jobs. Everyone I've had literally said, I don't make the prices. You, the consumer, technically do by giving me your money. You're saying agree with this price. Yeah, absolutely. I don't set the prices. I mean, when you're dealing with... See, this is the problem. When you're dealing with something that's an inelastic demand, like healthcare, for example, or certain types of foods, the seller does set the prices, and they can set the prices to whatever they want. Oh my god, I'm terrible. They can set it to whatever they want, and you have to pay it. If you need an appendectomy, it doesn't matter if that appendectomy is $200 or $200,000. Either you get your appendix removed or you die. You will pay whatever the hospital charges you, period. There is no way around it. Because you don't want to die. It's an inelastic demand. You have no choice. 3D game stands are an elastic demand. Which means I don't set the price. The consumer sets the price, basically. That's how that works. So, anyway, I don't know. I'm really, honestly, very fascinated by economics. I think it's really interesting the way it all works. Anyways, yeah, that's how all this works. I think it's pretty interesting. But like I said, I have a storage unit there, basically. I have an office, and the office, you know, I store my stuff there that I didn't want to take with me when I moved to New York City. So it's worth it just to have a storage unit there that I'm effectively not paying for, you know, because it evens out in the end. Like, I'm ultimately paying $0. I'm making nothing, but I'm paying nothing. So it evens out. It's worth it to have the storage unit for effectively free. So I'm not going to complain. In West Virginia, the money's in 3D gun stands. Whoa, well, here's the thing. This is the interesting part about it. My insurance... here's another expense you don't realize you need. General liability insurance. Somebody gets hurt at your company, you have to have general liability insurance, and that's about another $150 a month.